Let's go ahead and talk about the rule change in today's NBA. And I'm pulling this from an article because this is like completely out of the blue for me. And I have no idea. Like, a lot of leagues are changing their rules. The NFL changed their kickoff rules and their hip drop tackle rules. And now the NBA is changing its replay rules. So I wonder what's going to happen next. But aside from that, on Tuesday, the NBA announced an important rule change to the use of instant replay on out of bounds reviews that would have had a major impact on at least one game in the playoffs last season. Yeah, whoever wrote this put a typo in there. That's unfortunate for them. Within the new rule, if a coach challenges an out of bounds violation, the game officials and the replay center are now able to look at if a foul occurred during the same play. In other words, if a team challenges an out of bounds violation and a review finds that a foul occurred, which led to the violation, the officials can now call for the foul instead of forcing just on the out of bounds violation, and instead of focusing on just the out of bounds violation. That's a massive change that will undoubtedly see teams and coaches take advantage of when the season starts. Already, there's at least one play last season that this rule change would have come in handy for during Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. The article continues saying, with less than a minute to go between the Mavericks and Timberwolves, Jaden McDaniels got the ball at the baseline in the corner and was immediately trapped by Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. Kyrie knocked the ball out of McDaniels' hands, causing it to go out of bounds, but the official said Minnesota retained possession. Dallas challenged the play, and upon review, it was determined that McDaniels touched the ball last, awarding the Mavericks possession. Pretty clear cut. Except when the instant replay was shown, Irving clearly fouled McDaniels by slapping him on the arm, which caused the ball to dislodge and go out of bounds. So, under the old rules, the referees won't be able to change the decision on an uncalled foul. So, they can review whether the foul shouldn't have been called, but not the other way around, which is why Kyrie wasn't calling for a foul on the possession. That's why nobody was getting called for a foul on this possession. The play ended up having a massive impact on the outcome as the Mavericks went on to win at the buzzer to take a 2-0 series lead and eventually advance to the NBA Finals. Even after that game, crew chief Zach Zarba confirmed that Irving did foul McDaniels, but due to the rules, they couldn't change it upon review. With the new rule, if that exact play happens again, Irving would be assessed with a foul. The Mavericks would lose the challenge, and the Timberwolves would either be awarded with the possession of the ball or given 2 free throws, depending on if Dallas was in the penalty or not. It's important to note that this rule only applies to if a coach's challenge is used to contest an out-of-bounds violation. There will also be specific context that will be considered when deciding to assess a foul, including whether the players involved in the uncalled foul are the same or different players than the ones involved in and out of bounds, the distance between the uncalled foul and the out of bounds violation under the review, and the time elapsed between the uncalled foul and the out of bounds violation under review. We'll surely see the rule change have an impact in important games going forward, especially in an instance where a team is awarded 2 free throws in a crunch time situation. It may make coaches rethink using those challenges if they know their own player committed a foul, which would hurt them more than just losing possession of the ball. So it's a lot that I just unpacked there. But essentially, it seems like now, it's like just a tiny minor little difference, like a tiny minor little change in the rules. Because, I don't know how exactly I really feel about this. I would have expected that this was already a thing in the NBA. Like, if you're looking at the replay and you see that a player gets fouled and you miss the call, I would imagine that like the ref would be able to just make the right call, but apparently that's against the rules of the NBA, which I found rather surprising at the time, because it's like, how could that be against the rules? Like, yeah, sure, maybe you are reviewing for an out of bounds play, but if you got fouled, then why can't you overturn it and then call the foul? It doesn't make any sense to me. But now with this new rule change, we don't have to worry about that. But I sort of understand like why the refs do things the way that they do things, and why they officiate the way that they officiate, because of certain rules that the NBA has in place when reffing. And to be honest, like this change, I don't know if it's going to have that big of an impact in the regular season. It's going to have a very big impact in the postseason, more so than it's going to have in the regular season. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about this new rule change. Let me know if you guys enjoy it. Let me know if you guys don't like it. Let me know if you'd rather see something else change. Maybe they should have added another clause in that phrase. Like maybe another rule should have been added where you can replay and review other certain calls that the NBA just won't allow you to review or replay. So, it's the rule change. I feel like it was necessary because, you want to make sure that you get the call correctly, especially after recently where sort of the calls just affected the outcome of the series. You could argue that it affected the outcome of the series, but when it affects the outcome of a very important series and when people are left unhappy, a lot of people, the league is going to try and change the rules to try and make it better. Similar to how a couple years ago, when in the playoffs, when Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen played against each other, any of you football fans out there, the overtime rules were that if you got possession of the ball and you scored on the first play, you win the game, and that's it. And Mahomes did that, and the Bills ended up losing, and Bills fans were so upset that the NFL went ahead and changed the rules. Similar concepts over in the NBA on this end here. It's just what makes it a little bit funnier, like for the Bills side and like the NFL side, is that the Bills fans were literally just complaining, because personally I didn't have a problem with those rules, and like the only reason why they had a problem with those rules was because they ended up losing. And literally the very next week, Mahomes started with the ball, and he gave it away. So just a little bit of football in there. I like football, but aside from that, yeah, it's sort of like it's a parallel, like how they were able to change the rules and why the rules were changed, because it affected the outcome of the game. And the same way that you can make the argument that it affected the outcome of the game, you could also make the argument that Rudy Gobert should have defended Luka Doncic a bit better in that game, because they lost at the buzzer to a Luka Doncic buzzer beater. So you can make the argument that Rudy Gobert shouldn't have gotten cooked and he should have played better defense. You can totally make that argument the same way that you can make the argument that the Bills should have played better defense. It's totally valid. But aside from that, we are out of time for this second segment. So now I'm going to go ahead and rank each and every single NBA team just based off of their young core. I'm going to go through as many of them as I can, and I'll be right back after this short segment, so be sure to stay tuned.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.